ChatGPT has been driving the world crazy in the past few months, but I'm not convinced. So I decided to challenge ChatGPT by forcing it to code a mobile game. Here are the rules. Whenever ChatGPT successfully codes something on its own, ChatGPT will get a point. Otherwise, if it has to be done by me, a human who has been coding for a few years now, I will get a point. Whoever has more points at the end of this video wins. Let's get started. Okay, we need an idea, so I'm gonna ask ChatGPT what it wants to make. After some discussion, ChatGPT said it wanted to make a puzzle game involving lasers. The game would work by placing mirrors to direct a laser beam toward a target. So I opened Godot and created a new project. I started working on some sprites for the game in Gimp. I decided to make the game in a
minimalistic
art style because of how much I use pixel art, completely unrelated to the fact that it's easy to make. I imported all the sprites into the project and started working on the game map where the tiles would sit. I tried a bunch of ways I could do this and none of them seemed to work well, but after lots of thinking, I decided to use Godot's built-in UI system. After struggling with Godot's laggy UI system, I finally finished working on a responsive game map. Each dot represents a cell on which any tile can be dragged and dropped. I faced a bunch of bugs like the cells not being sized correctly, but at least it's not CSS after all. Next, I tried adding the mirror tile into the game. Yes, I know it looks terrible and that's not really how a mirror would look, but bear with me. So I went back to drawing in Gimp and started drawing a block that would shoot out a laser. I also copied and pasted the mirror to make a wall, which would block the laser, and imported the new sprites into Godot. Now that we have all the sprites imported into Godot, we can start asking ChatGPT to code the logic. I began by asking ChatGPT to give me code that would allow the player to drag the tiles around the game map. I tried and tried again to get ChatGPT to give me working code, but eventually I gave up. I ended up implementing the drag and drop system myself as the code was too complicated for ChatGPT. And now you can drag the tiles in the level around the map. That definitely was not hard to do at all, and I definitely didn't end up scrolling through like an hour of YouTube tutorials. I wanted to be able to change the direction of the tiles, so I tried asking the AI to give me code to do just that. It took a lot, and I mean a lot of trial and error, mostly because ChatGPT made mistakes on its own. But eventually, it added the feature into the game and fixed all the bugs it made. Remember that weird mirror tile I drew? Well, that's gone now. Yeah, I finally redrew it. Instead of a square with an arrow, it's now a beautiful triangle that the laser bounces off of, which I think makes a lot more sense. Okay, there's one problem with our game. There's no lasers in a game which is about lasers. So I asked ChatGPT how it would add the laser mechanic into the game, and it was actually doing pretty well. Well, it was doing well until ChatGPT slowly started giving more and more weird lines of code that just didn't make any sense. In turn, this made Godot start spitting out errors everywhere and make the game go to shambles. Eventually, I just decided to make it myself. So I created a script that would calculate the path of the lasers based on the mirror's positions and angles. It was a bit challenging to get right, but after some debugging, the lasers started bouncing off the mirrors correctly. Before we moved on though, I wanted to add one more tile into the game. This tile would basically serve as a wall, but one that you couldn't move. I didn't have to make any code for this though, which was a big relief because working with ChatGPT was not fun sometimes. ChatGPT's original goals asked us to give a star rating when the level was completed, kind of like in Angry Birds, so I got to work. First, I started drawing the target tile, which the player would have to point the laser at to complete the level. This tile was basically just a wall block with a light bulb on top of it. After finishing, I imported all the textures I made in Gimp and started working on adding all the necessary nodes to make the target block in Godot. I also asked ChatGPT to make some code that would switch the light bulb texture whenever the laser would hit the block. I moved on to working with ChatGPT to implement the winning mechanic. I asked the AI to write a script that would check if the laser hit the target tile, and if so, it would display a victory message with the stars I earned. It's finally finished. The AI's masterpiece was finally finished. Except it wasn't that easy. Just let me show you some of the bugs that the AI had to deal with. So, in the end, did ChatGPT or I win the challenge? Well, it was a close match, but ChatGPT successfully coded most of the game mechanics. ChatGPT proved that it can make a mobile game. It's obviously not even close to being a full game, but I have to admit that ChatGPT's coding skills actually impress me. Will it replace developers? Probably not. Thank you for watching this video, and if you liked it, consider watching this one where I made a game in 3 days.